Good day and welcome to lecture 3 of business analysis. My name is Bhuvan Unhelkar and I have the privilege of being your tutor for this subject. Now I hope you remember what we have discussed in the previous 2 weeks. The first week was the introduction, and the second week we tried to define what is business analysis and tried to discuss it and try to create our own understanding of what we are really studying in this subject. We also referred to the frameworks. There are a few well-known business analysis frameworks, and both within the course and also outside of this course, I would encourage you to try and explore these frameworks so that you know that you are at par with what is at an international level the standard for business analysis. In this particular lecture, we are not discussing frameworks, or we have gone beyond business analysis as a definition, but we do try and focus our attention on something that is top end business analysis. And I don't mean it in a value judgment fashion. By top end means where we really deal with all kind of ambiguities, uncertainties, changes, and we try and understand these amorphous nature of business, and we then try and create some models which are at business level. So we are really looking at business analysis here as lot more than requirements modeling. In the subsequent lectures, we will deal with requirements models. But in this particular lecture, it is business needs that we are focusing on. And you will see in the seminar that you are exposed to different techniques of doing what I call pure business analysis. So talking to the key business stakeholders, to the users, to observe, to ask questions, to listen and interpret the answers that are given, to translate, to reiterate to the users what they have told you, to understand the values behind a particular initiative that the business is trying to create, to understand the outcomes that the business is trying to achieve. And these values and these outcomes are far more than the deliverables. The deliverables are only a means to achieving outcomes, and the outcomes are only a means to achieving business value. So you, as BA professionals, business analysis professionals, are going to do a lot more than requirements modeling, and that's what you are learning in this particular module. If you look at your course outline, your module outline, you will see the first thing that I have put there is the ability to understand business needs. So these are very high level needs, these are strategic in nature. For example, a business has a need to reduce its losses, or a business has a need to go ahead of its competition, or a business has a strategic need to collaborate with another partner who could be otherwise becoming a competitor. So these are board level decisions, and business analysts are perfectly capable of playing a role at an organization's board. Up until now, we have never given business analysis that importance, but it is a full-on profession, and it requires a person to exercise all those skills and competencies and mindsets that enable them to take decisions at those very high level. We then look at business capabilities. We then look at how those capabilities can be fully utilized by business. They could be technical capabilities, they could be people capabilities, and so on. In fact, you will find that as great business analysts, you are dealing with a much wider area of the organization than ever envisaged uh, before BA became a profession. So a BA would deal with business needs, business strategies, business capabilities, business rules, and you will need a whole approach. And the approach changes from organization to organization in terms of how to create the rules, how to store them, how to maintain them, how to use them, how to decommission rules. So it's a combination of both technical necessities, but at a very high level, and also a strategic approach to managing business rules. Uh, you could be deciding that rules will be all stored separately and used as needed, or you might embed them integrally with your requirements. You will deal with the overall uh, the inventories, the manufacturing capabilities, the service capabilities of the organization. You are thinking holistic. When we talk about analysis, as I mentioned to you in one of my earlier lectures, we always think in terms of breaking a problem down into smaller problems and even more finer problems, and then analyzing it by looking at the inputs, checking out what the outputs will be. We do that in chemistry, and we do that in botany, and we do that in physics. We take something, we break it down into small bits. That's what usually analysis is. And yes, for most part, that is business analysis as well. But when you are looking at the challenges that a business faces, when you look at you tend to investigate the root causes of problems, you have to also look at the business in a holistic manner. And by holistic, I mean in a unified manner, which means you look at people, processes, technologies, and monies integrally. And then you start going into the root causes. So you look at the organization as a whole, and then you start going deeper into it. So you're doing two things which are apparently opposing each other. You're looking at the organization holistically, and you're breaking it down into smaller and smaller and smaller bits. So there are many techniques to do that, and I am presenting some of them in the seminar. The first thing that you really need to do is to be able to ask the right questions. And I got a very popular poem by Rudyard Kipling. Um, it's called The Elephant's Child. And this poem has been used in many management and consulting firms to remind oneself of the questions that we should ask. And as BAs, you will be asking these questions. Of course, depending on the situation, the environment in which you are, the organization you are dealing with, the type of role that you are playing, these questions will change. But the core 6 questions go something like this in the poem. I keep 6 honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. Their names are what and why and when and how and where and who. And then the poem continues, I send them over land and sea, I send them east and west, but after they have worked for me, I give them all rest. So I don't want you to memorize the poem itself, but as I mentioned to you, in many management circles, these first four lines are used to remind oneself of the kind of questions to ask. So you could be asking questions as to, what is it that the business wants? Then you can say why that particular requirement is there. The business needs, the business requirements will not be something like, we want to implement an ERP solution. That is a solution, that is a mechanism, a means to achieving a business need. What is the business need? Could be improving efficiency, could be enhancing inventory management, could be uplifting people capabilities, could be facing handling competition, could be complying with legal requirements like upcoming carbon emission legislation. These are business needs. And then we say, so what is it that the business wants? Why is it that the business wants? So it will be a combination. Some of it is to comply with legal requirements, another is to increase the revenues, third one is to plan for the future, fourth one is to reduce cost, fifth is to enhance customer experience. Those are the reasons. So what and why and when? Do I want it today? Can I wait for an year? Can the business afford to lose money for next 6 months and still survive? Because the cost of putting a project or a program or a change management strategy could be much more than the money that is being lost. So you bring in your cost benefit analysis skills and you ask these questions. Then you say, how are we going to do it? This is at a very high business level. These are board level decisions. So you are asking, how are we going to do it? Then you are deciding where exactly these change management programs will be implemented. If it is a large global organizations, do we start with the places where the business is at highest risk, or do we start where it is extremely stable and so you can experiment with the changes? And then you ask the question, who is going to do it, who is going to be benefited by it, who is going to be in charge of it? And these are the questions. You can then of course change these questions to do root cause analysis. For example, again in the seminar I have put techniques like Ishikawa diagram or fishbone diagrams as they are popularly called. I have encouraged you to think in terms of these 6 questions and apply them to a fishbone diagram and arrive at a root cause of the problem, and similarly the solution. There is a very well-known technique, a very simple technique that has been created by Tony Buzan, and Tony's site contains some nice explanations of how to go about applying this technique, and it is called mind map. So unlike the normal notes taking approach that we have when we go and chat with a user, when we go and chat with a business stakeholder, with a domain expert, with a subject matter expert, we start taking notes. I am encouraging you as great BAs to not take notes but start drawing diagrams, and these diagrams are mind maps. So do not hesitate. Next time you chat with a stakeholder in your business, you start drawing mind maps. They are simple circles or dots with key points written at the center, and then you expand the mind map. So our mind, which is never linear and which is never organized in rows and columns, is much better reflected in a mind map, and I'm encouraging you to learn that technique. Then of course you have come across the strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and traps, the SWOT analysis. You have probably come across pestle analysis. There are many such techniques, and in this one lecture we can't fit all techniques, but I am encouraging you to experiment with the ones that I have given. and then of course try and practice them and try and um, put them in your assignment. So now that I have mentioned the word assignment, let me tell you a little bit more about what I am expecting you to do in the assignment. Last week you have formalized your topic and written the abstract. So this week you have to create a full outline, and that means you make use of the template that I have given you, but you change the headings, you change the topic headings, that is the subheadings, to outline your paper or your assignment. Also think of a couple of figures. You may not be drawing them all in this particular submission, and this week's submission is not really marked. The purpose of this week is for you to create that outline, maybe write one or two sentences for each subheadings, put some references, and if you have drawn a sketch you can put that in. Otherwise you simply put that entire outline for your fellow students to see. And to the fellow students, they have to see the outline, they have to comment on it. If you have come across something interesting, point it out to your friend, your colleague, and that way you're going to embellish, keep on adding to that assignment. So it's a 4-week journey, this assignment one, and it is not to be done in the 4th week. It has to be done gradually and with a lot of interaction and lot of comments from fellow students, because we are on a learning journey. uh, Marking the assignment and getting a pass is perhaps the deliverable, but the outcome is that you become a great BA, and the value is that you enjoy, you have phenomenal satisfaction in the work that you do, and then you make business analysis a profession. So with that thought, I'm going to sign off. Please enjoy the journey, please be motivated, and I'm here to help and support you as always. So this is Bhuvan Unhelkar. Take care and bye bye.